Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this Linux install how-to for the Ubuntu file server edition. We are configuring and installing Samba. In part 1 we set up a passwordless share, just an open share that anyone on the network can access with read and write permissions, copy files to it, read from it, whatever they need. For part 2 we're going to set up a passworded share. This will require a username and password to give access to that share. So to do that, we're going to modify the configuration file that we modified previously for Samba. We're going to sudo nano etc samba smb.conf. We can go straight to our share that we set up previously. We're going to turn off guest access, so we're going to change that to no. And our valid users options, we're going to remove this semicolon. This means that Samba is now going to listen to this directive. Our user's Bob. This account name has to exist in your Unix or Linux users. This means that you have to have a system account that you log in with on this system. Bob's is my regular login, so we're going to use that. You can create another login if you wish, but this user does have to exist in the regular users file of your Linux system. So once we've made those changes, we're going to hit Control-X to save that, to exit Nano. It'll ask if we want to save those changes, which we do. Hit Y. And then it's going to ask us for the file name. We're going to hit Enter. We're going to leave it the same file. Now for Samba to actually take those changes, we need to restart it again. So sudo restart smbd. Now Samba's running with those new options. So if we grab our share folder here, we see our cookies share, but we still can't access it right. Even if we put in our username and password, it's going to say it can't give us access. The reason for this is that the directory that we set up initially was set up for the nobody user. This user is the user that the Samba server is running as, which means it has access to read and write files to it. We need to give our Bob user access to those files for it to work the way that we want it to. So to do that, we're going to use that chown command. We're going to use sudo chown, the username, Bob, and we're going to give him ownership of that cookies directory. Now Bob can do with it now Bob at least has permissions, explicit permissions to that cookies directory. Cool, we've got that. But Samba still doesn't know how to interact with that. To do that, we need to use the SMB password program. To do that, we're going to run sudo smb password with the A option because we're adding a user, and then the user Bob. It's going to ask for the SMB password. This is the password you need to log into it. I'll give it my password here. Added user Bob. Now Bob has access to that, and Samba is aware of that. So now if we go back to our share here, we're going to get prompted. Now we have access to it, and we can do with it as we see fit. You can have multiple shares set up, defined in your Samba file with different users having different access. You can also do group access, but I would like to save that for a more in-depth Samba dedicated configuration how-to for setting up domain access, group access, advanced ACLs, things like that. But this should give you 2 ways of setting up your Samba server with either a passwordless access or password protected access. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, leave comments in the YouTube video or in the Overclockers forums thread. Other than that, have a good afternoon, people.